we started cutting our classes based on the amount of money that the state gives to us, right? So they give us a certain amount of money, and we can only allow in a certain number of students based on the money that the state gives. And so that's when we had to start cutting classes. You know, we've cut hundreds of classes.
The reason I could see a day when only the elite can go to a traditional university is because I see a lot of political discussion now and some actions being taken to reduce the number of students who are eligible for financial aid. They're reducing their funding.
I think we need to raise taxes. I think we need to, you know, it's painful. I know that the business community will say if you raise taxes that you're going to kill our economy. But I don't see, I mean, the only real solution to this, if you ask me, that is completely ethical, is for Californians to accept the responsibility of educating the younger generations.
Probably the group being most significantly affected is whatever you would call middle class.
If you're really poor, you get Board of Governors waivers, you get money, right? But it's middle class kids who are making more money than allows them to get the financial aid, but they're not wealthy enough to pay for the classes. They get kind of cut out in the middle.
We have a huge F1 visa student population here. They pay their own tuition, they pay their own way, no one helps them. They pay rent, they rent cars, they buy other things. They're pouring millions of dollars in the state economy. And when they can't get those classes, it's going to be a disaster for all of us.
It was a lot less expensive.
Our education was almost free, even in college.
When I was going to UCLA, and that was in the early 70s, my entire budget, including my dorm, my fees, my books, everything, my entire budget was $2,000.
I mean, there were small fees, but compared to what you're paying, it was nothing.
I believe that it was around $200 a semester for fees when I started working here in '86. So you can see that it's grown quite a bit.
If you're like me and you spent 5-6 hours a day working every week, you only have a certain amount of time to get your classes and a certain amount of time to study, and that's your whole life. But now you can't even get those classes that don't conflict with your job hours. So I think that's where we're losing a lot of those students, you know. They're ending up at these service jobs, stuck in them, because they can't get the classes they need to move forward, you know, get those skills that they need to move on in life.
I think we could come up with a better plan, is what it really gets down to. I think there's a better way to find funding that doesn't ask students to reach in their pockets.
I think that the nature of higher education itself is going to have to change because nobody can afford for it to keep going in the same manner, and I think there's a lot of innovation out there as far as looking at online education, you know, education for the masses.
We have to realize that we're all in the same boat here, and we're all working with the same problem, which has a root in Sacramento.
I think we need to look at the way we spend our money on campus all the time. I mean, you need to be efficient. Better ideas, though. We had a long list that our president dismissed in the last year. Things like, why do we keep marketing? Why are we spending money on marketing when we have 34,000 students already?
If you get the students fighting the administration in one college about these budget cuts, well, the administration didn't do the budget cuts. It was Sacramento that did it. We're all fighting the same battle. And if we can work together and put pressure on those politicians in Sacramento, we'll change this. We can change this.
This is a commitment that the state should make, knowing that this is a long-term investment for the good of our state. If we don't have educated people, who are going to pay the taxes? Who's going to be the workers, right? I mean, this is an investment we need to make.
It might end up that only the very rich, again, can go to a traditional educational facility because only the rich are going to be able to afford it.
It's pretty easy, isn't it? Less money coming in, more people needing education. What drives our economy is a highly skilled and educated workforce. we better solve this as quickly as we can.